Well, we're live, buddy.
Yes, we are with the countdown.
We've had some technical difficulties. We're going to have a quick countdown to share all of our goodies, but we'll have the show running here real soon.
What's up, everybody? It's 4th and Goal broadcast with David on Tuesday night. Season starts Thursday, and this is officially KC hate week for us Lions fans. So officially in this show, it is fuck David, fuck his team. It's going to be a showdown on Thursday night. Who's all going to be watching it?
That's not very nice.
Hey, man.
Now look here, sir.
It's our first week as enemies on the broadcast tonight.
Goodness. That's not very nice, sir.
Hey, I made a great post in the Renegades. Someone over here was laughing at it, but now
I did.
I wasn't nice about it.
Yeah, I laughed. I admit it. I laughed at your post. I'm sorry.
Hey,
because no matter win or lose, we're coming in there. The whole win or lose is the funny part. That's the part that I was laughing at.
Because well, here's the thing.
You're going down,
hey.
and you're hoping. Please, God, let the Lions beat the Chiefs so I can rub it in their face and we beat the champs.
Hey.
Without their best defensive player,
possibly
without their best offensive player after Mahomes.
So let me get this straight.
Man, we got to talk about that. That sucks.
So all season, it's been about 3-4 months. It's been about a month, maybe a little over a month that we know we play KC week 1.
Yep.
Since then, I have not seen, all I've seen is KC fans running their mouth. Now, mind you, last time we played, we were a shit team. Matt Patricia gutted us, took us right back to the bottom. Last time you were in Ford Field, you barely beat a shitty Lions team. You guys have never played a team that is this good. Now, granted, I don't think we're super.
Did you just say we have never played a team that is this good? Are you saying you're better than the Philadelphia
No,
Eagles?
hang on. I was speaking as Detroit specifically only.
Oh.
I would not say it because I was just getting ready to say, do I think the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl in 2023? My honest answer is no. But I do like the fact that we actually have a shot. We could be in the playoffs and have a contender. I've been talking real football all offseason.
You're going to make the playoffs.
And granted, the first game does not break my season.
Yeah.
But is this a time on national TV to put the NFL on notice? For sure. Do I think any team can win this game? For sure. Just like I put a post today. Kelsey's probably not playing Thursday. Jones is probably not playing Thursday.
And I'm sure we're going to talk about that at length.
I got a question. What did my post say? Because I shared it and said it's not looking for KC to have Jones or Kelsey. But I made it clear that it was going to be no easy game for the Detroit Lions to still go in KC and win that. Even if those two players are on the field.
Obvious. No game is easy. It's the National Football League. Okay.
But why?
You're getting all worked up. Okay. Let's calm things down and get to the news of the week. Okay. Let's start with the news of the week. And of course, we have to start with today. We've mentioned it right there. Travis Kelce hyperextended his knee in practice. Sky Moore said that he watched him walk off under his own power. He was not carted off. The MRI showed that his ACL was intact, and there is swelling, And so I've seen some posts already, and I have to agree. I mean, after this game, there'll be 10 days before they play again. There's no sense in running him out there, and playing in this game. I don't see Travis Kelce playing in the opening game. Okay. And that means it will give other players the opportunity to, shine a little bit. They kept 7 receivers, which has never happened in the Andy Reid era. This is, maybe a reason why they need more weapons. And so, that's the tidbit from the Chiefs, along with, Chris Jones has not reported in. He had arrived in Kansas City along with his agent, and he was there. I don't know if he left or not, but I know for sure he was there for a couple of days, this last weekend. And according to reports, the sides are still miles apart. I don't think he's going to play. I don't think that he is going to be signed. I think the Chiefs are going to hold a firm line. They've offered him more money. They've offered him more financial security, but it's not what he wants. And as I've heard on, the radio and the other shows today and yesterday, this is his last chance to get a really big payday. He's 30 years old. He's probably not going to, get another big time contract. This is his one chance. And those that are saying, yeah, but it's costing him money, all this extra money and everything from missing training camp. It was, $50,000 a day or something, That's all chump change in compared to I'm going to sign a 4-year deal and I'll make 10 or 15 more $1 million a year than I'm making, excuse me, right now. Okay. If he gets the $30 million that he wants. He's scheduled to make, I think, 19.5 this year against the cap. If he gets that other, 10.5, that's $40 million that he is putting against on this side to $1 million I'm going to lose if I don't show up to training camp. Now we're going to get into missing game checks. And so this is going to cost him even more than the money that he is, seeking, to where it's still, is it chump change? It's not. And my understanding is that, of course, he tweeted out, if he doesn't get a new contract, we won't see him till week 8, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, as a fan for that team, I get where it's, you're getting pissed. But at the same time, as a player, I mean, can you blame this dude? This dude is seeing quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson get all this money.
Yeah.
Now, granted, not going there. I've already said what I thought on Lamar Jackson. Not that he's a good QB. I just don't think he's that guy at the elite level. And he shouldn't be making that kind of money. Here's a dude that's been holding it down on that D line, making it hard for teams to run through, getting to the quarterback, playing at a high level. And guess what? He's paid his dues. He's took less money. He's took fair money to be a part of this team. He's watched his own quarterback get that big payday, enough money where he can become a half owner of the KC baseball team in town. Now he's watched Kelsey, and now he has to sit back and watch those two on the TV all the time and all these commercials, making all this money. And here he is on the D line, not getting the commercials, the off of the field money like they can make. And he got to sit back here and be like, man, I'm supposed to keep doing all this for this? And that's sometimes when a team has to sacrifice. And I know what Andy Reid and the KC Chiefs want it. They want to keep those weapons. They want to keep that offense that loaded. But by doing that, you're hurting your defense side of the ball by not being able to pay Chris Jones the money he wants. So now you're at a crossroads. You either wait to week 8 and get him, and hopefully he's going to play 110% and get you to far in the playoffs, maybe another Super Bowl. Or you take the chance he shows up in week 8 and says, you know what? It's playoff, and he plays and it's playoff time. Oh, sorry, I missed that tackle, guys. Not saying he would throw a game.
That is not going to happen.
I don't think.
All film that he puts on tape, everything he puts on tape could be, him showcasing himself to other teams. He's getting up there in age for a defensive tackle. If he sits out, until week 8, which is his right by the union rules and everything, so that he can still get credit for the year, it will affect the franchise tag next year to where the franchise tag isn't going to be the kind of money that, he was looking for, and they could keep him on the roster with the franchise tag, and he can decide to just sit. He can decide, and he's going to lose a whole nother year. If they really want to play hardball, and don't get me wrong, Kansas City Chiefs do not win either one of their Super Bowls without Chris Jones. The batted balls against the 49ers, the sack late in the fourth quarter against Jalen Hurts, those are huge plays defensively. But like all teams that are, on the brink or into a dynasty, if you will, you can't keep everybody. They got rid of Tyreek Hill last year. It served them well with draft picks. It helped them with their salary cap situation. Chris Jones is the next person. They have been willing, They have been willing to raise it up. But he's got to meet them halfway in their mind, or they're not going, to go any further. And he's going to be the speculation of trade. Ron said it. There's been word in Dallas that maybe they would trade for him.
Yeah.
I've heard Chicago. Okay. There are teams that are interested that have salary cap room that will pay him a long-term deal where they can backload it and make sure he's got plenty of guaranteed money up front, and it won't hurt him this year, and they'll pay for it down the line. But the Chiefs are not in a position to do that because of all of the young players that they have drafted, and their contracts are coming up. 2 years ago, they rebuilt the offensive line. Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith. They brought in Joe Tooney. They've got new tackles, okay? And one's on a 1-year deal, one's on a 4-year deal. After the 1 year, he's going to be gone. Creed Humphrey is considered, if not number one, number two behind Jason Kelce, as the best center in football. He's going to want paid as such. Trey Smith, who was a 7th-round pick because he had physical ailments in college that people worried about, has been a godsend for them financially, and he's going to want to get paid as well. Nick Bolton's going to want to get paid defensively. L'Jarius Sneed, everybody's going to want to get paid, and it's the ones that are willing to take less but still get a nice chunk of change that are the ones that the Chiefs are going to be able to afford, and they're going to be able to keep this train rolling down the station.
Yeah.
Because you've got, Patrick Mahomes, and everybody wants, he's underpaid. Well, they want him to take more money because that'll make the Chiefs go down. Mm-hmm. They won't be able to afford other players. Kelce needs more money. Hawkinson, did you see that contract? Kelce's underpaid. He needs more money. The reason other people and the media talk about, getting that money up for these players that are taking less on purpose is because they're looking for a new story. The Chiefs are not a new story. Yeah. The Chiefs are the favorite in the AFC. The Chiefs are favored to win the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes is favored to be the MVP. None of that stuff is a new story. They're looking for the new story, and that's one of the reasons why your Detroit Lions are playing them in the opening game Thursday night. Detroit's a new story. They're an underdog, a team that hasn't won in decades, and they're looking for a team. They can't root for Cleveland anymore because of Deshaun Watson and his legal issues. So Detroit is the team that they are putting all their eggs in that basket. This is our new storyline right here. And they're hoping that they come out aces. Okay? I think your team has a very good shot to win the game. I expect them to win the division. I expect them to win a playoff game. I expect them.
See,
if they live up to expectations, if they live up to expectations, they will be in the thick of it in the NFC, at least into the divisional round, depending on their record. Hell, they could host a playoff game in the second round if they were able to get that number one seed. Philadelphia and San Francisco have very difficult schedules, with the exception of the Arizona Cardinals for the 49ers, and they're dealing with really an inexperienced quarterback. He looked great last year, but people have got the tape on him now, okay? People have seen what Purdy can do, and they will game plan against him. I'm sure they have done all off season. Okay. And same goes for Philadelphia. And so you've got the opportunity to really showcase yourselves. You may not win the first game. The first week, you never really know who's going to win. Surprises happen. Remember the Rams years ago with Kurt Warner. They ain't going to win nothing. Holy smokes. Look at that offense.
Yeah.
We've seen you guys. You were a top 5 offense last year. The defense let you down, but you've added some really good pieces this offseason. And
Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing Detroit play very well this year.
Oh, for sure. See, only why I'm bringing it up, and I wasn't bringing it up to talk shit or to put the Lions that we're going to win this game, because I know as a fan point, and you can check anything I posted, especially these upcoming weeks, on my personal profile, in the Renegades, on my personal page, there's not one time I said the Lions are going in the KC week 1 and winning that game. Not even on the broadcast I've said that. The only thing I've stated is we have a legit shot.
Right.
And that's only why I'm coming at you KC fans this week, and not particularly David, because at the end of the day, David's going to give me shit because that's his team. But you just heard this guy himself. He just talked real football talk. Not once stated that Lions don't have no chance. I'm talking about the other fans that have literally have been saying there's no shot. Like Jimmy Ill, I'll give you a little shout out, buddy. He's been telling me for the last probably 6 weeks that the Lions have no chance because Arrowhead is the loudest stadium in the NFL.
Has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with it.
That's what I've been saying.
You know, first of all, the word fan is short for fanatic. Okay. I love all football, which is why I love sitting here and talking about everything. I'm a realist. Okay. That's why they play the games. Okay. They don't play them because they know the outcomes. They play them because it's a test to see who is the better team on that particular night. Some nights the referees screw you. Okay.
You got that right.
You know, but, you know, for the most part, and I don't think they're trying to do it on purpose. Human error is part of the game. They don't want to eliminate that, or they would have a sky judge, which I've been asking for years. It works no problem in the XFL and the USFL, but God forbid we do that in the NFL. Because they can get that phone call from New York and they can get together and they can have their little meeting. Well, after further review and discussion, how come they didn't do that when that Ram tackled the Saint at the end of the NFC Championship game a few years ago? Because pass interference to beat the band. Saint should have been in the Super Bowl, and I think they would have beaten the New England Patriots.
I agree with you.
You know,
and I will say this on that subject right there is I'm not sitting here saying this sports are rigged, because they're not rigged, but they do let some of those bad calls go like that because they don't want to come in there and change it because it makes it look like they rigged it. Now, with that being said, before I got old enough and became a football fanatic, before I fell in love with the Lions, I was raised hockey only. Yeah. I fell in love with the Red Wings, and I got to watch 4 Stanley Cups in 25 years. And when we became a dynasty, I noticed when it came playoff time or big games of the regular season, a lot of the calls seemed to always go against us. And we were one of the cleanest teams in the league. So it happens in all sports. They're not going to control it. But that's the whole point I was getting at, David, is at some point you got to talk some real shit. You know, I've been hearing about that, and then I'm reading an article today how the Lions got these 2 big-ass trailers, and they got 2 trailers on one side, 2 trailers on the other side with these big-ass speakers, and they got them blaring. They were literally following the offense every time they moved down the field. So they moved 2 yards, the speakers came with them. If they moved 20 yards, the speakers came with them. So if you think they're really not going to be ready for that crowd, they're going to be ready. Sure, they might still have some false starts. It happens. It's football. Especially they play in loud stadiums everywhere.
Everybody's rusty. They ain't played a full game, you know, and they're going to be tired in the fourth quarter. You know, these teams have not played a full game. They'll be tired in the fourth quarter. I'm loving these comments by Ron.
He's always on cue.
He's on there, and he's talking about more than one time they've gotten that letter from the NFL with the apology. Sorry, we missed that call. Every team gets that letter, believe me.
Yeah,
remember last year when Chris Jones sacked Derek Carr, took the ball away from him, but because he landed on him while he was taking the ball, they called roughing the passer.
Yeah, and it wasn't roughing the passer.
They had the video evidence that he had the ball and he's trying to get up and run with it. And roughing the passer, 15 yards. Nobody comes in to change the call. And that's why, and we're going to talk about some gambling stuff here in a little bit. Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't get the computer to bring up DraftKings at the same time we're doing Zoom. It wants to shut off, and it's not sure I'm in Kansas. And you better not be gambling in some other state, that doesn't have sports gambling. I love that we got gambling this last year. I had some down weeks, but I tell you what, man, I won $3,200 last year. I'm looking forward. I've already made my bets because I had to place these free bets that I got from downloading money into stuff before the 7th. So I got my whole weekend already planned out. I hope just nobody else like Kelsey gets hurt. But we'll definitely talk some gambling here in a little bit. Let's talk real briefly for a few minutes about fantasy football. Everybody, I'm sure by this point, has got their teams, drafted.
Actually, and, can I say one thing before we go into that? Can I say something before we start the fantasy?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I just want to bring this up because we got carried actually talking about the game and fans and stuff there. But there is a little drama. You were talking about news stories and how the press wants all these stories. Well, they're here in Detroit trying to get it all up. Isaiah Buggs, number 96, our D tackle that was pretty decent for us last year, has been benched for week 1. He will not be playing Thursday night. So the rumors have been we're trading for Chris Jones. Supposedly KC and them agreed that they won't do the trade until officially after Thursday night is done and over with. I don't really believe that. Then I heard another rumor that we're shipping him to the Buccaneers for Mike Evans, which that one really blows my mind because I would think they would want a wide receiver, running back, something on the offense in return for a wideout and a draft pick, not a D tackle for a wide receiver. So I don't.
Tampa Bay doesn't need a defensive tackle.
That's what I'm saying. So from the rumors, I call bullshit. Now, Jones is a little bit more believable than the Evans, but I still don't think that's happening.
Yeah.
And so basically what Dan Campbell came out and said is he playing on tape on the field plainly got beat out for his starting position. Now, I do think the reason why he's benched and not going to be even a rotation is I think the front office is a little pissed at because of Darren's voluntary workouts. They said he's probably the only one on the team that did not show their face. And now I understand Bug said he came out and addressed it. He thinks that's what's the cause of it as well. And he said, well, I had a baby. I thought, they would understand my reasoning. Now, granted, having a baby is a big step in anybody's life, and you should rightfully have a few weeks to yourself. Now, if you heard me, a few weeks to yourself. They didn't say, and I don't think that's what pissed them off. I think it's because he missed them all. Like, I get it, you had a baby, take a couple weeks, but you could have showed up there for a week or two for a mini camp. You could have put the work in, and you didn't. The other players did, and someone beat you out in training camp. That's all I'm seeing. And Buggs has been, in all of his statements, he's been pretty straightforward with no sugar, not trying to hide stuff. He's been straight up. The front office has been straight up. But here's the paper. Still running their mouth, claiming there's locker room problems, players not getting along with the coach. And I don't think that's the case at all. I think this is just one player that lost the starting position. And here's the media trying to spice shit up for their game.
Right.
It happens with every team. You know what I mean? KC could bench a player tomorrow. That'd be all over the damn news. I guess we'll find out Thursday, because if the Lions do come out and beat the Super Bowl champs, I guess all the local papers are going to look real stupid with their locker room problems. I'm just saying, if we win, now if we go out there and get our ass beat, and it's not even a competitive game, maybe I'll start believing some of those articles. But as of right now, I think they're just reaching for anything they can get their hands on.
Yeah.
But now let's move to fantasy football, where I'm pretty sure Dave's going to give me some shit.
No, not really. I mean, all I was going to say, I have a few things to point out is that there are several different types of fantasy football leagues. You've got your dynasty leagues, in which case everybody just drafted like rookies. You've got your keeper leagues, where there's some teams that, you keep certain number of players and then you redraft with everybody else. And then there's your redraw leagues, which is a brand new team every year. And I saw just some crazy, teams that were being drafted. And I don't know what some people were thinking. They were not auto picks. I have every year, and maybe, I know more than other people, who knows? But I don't know why people insist on drafting injured players, or players that are suspended, or players that, everything points to where they're on the downside of their career. Let's pick them high. And it just drove me crazy the last couple of weeks to see that. Cooper Kupp is injured. A friend of mine wants to trade Cooper Kupp, who is injured, for Devontae Adams. Why would anybody in their right mind make that trade? Okay. Adams is not hurt. Okay. Cooper Kupp is injured. They draft him. Nick Bosa's holding out of camp. They draft him, because we got defensive players. Chris Jones is holding out. They draft. I'm like, why are you doing this? He clearly said if he didn't have a new contract, he wasn't going to be back until week 8. And so, the draft process was funny this year, watching. And I do want to say, and you're right, I am going to give you a hard time now. We talked about, fantasy football here a couple weeks ago, and I said that didn't matter, what league I was in, I would take Patrick Mahomes with whatever first pick I had in the first round. Everybody's taking running backs. Everybody's taking running. It is a passing league. If you have a dynasty and you're starting brand fresh, you want to pick up a quarterback that's going to last you for the next 10, 12 years. Okay. Yep. If you are having a team that, there are tons of running backs, because the workhorse running back is very rare nowadays. You have these rotations where you have 2, sometimes 3, running backs that are in a stable of guys on a team, and they're all going to get their touches, and they're all going to get some touchdowns, or situationally, they'll be in those positions where they're on the goal line. This is the guy we give the ball to. Okay. And, that's why, my tidbit for those of you out there is Jamal Williams, who now plays for the New Orleans Saints. When he was with the Detroit Lions, led the league in rushing touchdowns from inside the 5-yard line.
Yes, he did.
He's not an elusive player, and I won't say that I think that he is. Detroit's in much better shape this year. They got David Montgomery. Yep. And if you drafted David Montgomery, you're in for a really great year. Now they've got Jahmyr Gibbs, okay, coming in the rookie. You very good. Okay. The reason why is ever since he was at, Iowa State. Okay. Isn't that right? He was at Iowa State.
Yep.
David Montgomery. Okay. It was either that or Iowa. I'm just hanging on a thread here. He's like a bowling ball. People can't take him down on the first hit. He breaks tackles. He is elusive, and he is tough, nose to the grindstone, get that extra yard or two. They're going to use him in that same position this year that they used Jamal Williams, but they'll be able to do it from the 10 and in because he'll get those extra yards. And I'm telling you, David Montgomery is going to have a big year for the Detroit Lions.
My strategy actually in our pick was, and I'll tell you, David is a little salty because I picked Patrick Mahomes with my first pick in the Renegades League, and rightful so. But in my defense, I didn't do it because we talked on this show about taking quarterback. Is I seen a couple players that did that. The couple guys were auto draft in our draft, and that's what scared me because we had a guy, and I'm pretty sure he auto drafted because he was stuck at work last year. Dan Smith, he's an admin in our group, and his team auto draft last year. And when I needed to get a better quarterback because I think my quarterback got hurt last year sometime, or I was just trying to upgrade a position, I went to his team because I was looking for trades for the trade deadline. And this dude had not four, just quarterbacks. He had 4 legit fucking starters on his team that he auto drafted and for some reason kept on his team majority of the season. So when I seen other people, a couple people auto drafted, and I realized that I had a close pick, and then it was going to be like 13 or some picks before I got picked again. I'm like, no, screw this, because normally I do go running back first. That's always been big strategy. Right. So I was like, no one's taking Patrick Mahomes. Snag. Just because I knew I was going to have to wait 13 picks, and I didn't want to wait for the auto draft picks.
I don't know whether obviously not everybody in the world is watching our podcast. Okay. Every league that I was in, quarterbacks, and not just one in the first round, lots of quarterbacks. It was like they were reading my mind. Okay. I said in a previous podcast, you only get one quarterback. You only get one tight end. Okay. First round, quarterbacks, tight ends, they're saving those running backs and receivers for later. Okay. Now there were 3 or 4 wide receivers that always went in the first round. Chase, Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Okay. Those guys were going in the first round, and there were some running backs. But I swear to you, Kelsey went in the first round of every draft that I was in. Mahomes went in every first round of every draft I was in. I've seen Josh Allen in the first round. I've seen Aaron Rodgers in the first round. I've seen Justin Herbert in the first round. Lamar Jackson in the first round. People were taking quarterbacks, okay, because especially, the bigger the names, they were definitely going. Okay. And so, I feel kind of vindicated that we talked about it and it happened in all of the leagues that I'm dealing with.
Well, I guess we should have joined.
In a dynasty draft that I had, okay, a quarterback that he's got a lot of upside. I don't care for him right now. I'm going to be totally wrong after watching preseason games. But Anthony Richardson was like the 3rd pick in the draft in a dynasty draft. Okay, we're picking rookies, and running backs go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as quick as they can. And in the 3rd pick, they took Anthony Richardson. And then 2 picks later, okay, Dalton Kincaid goes at tight end. Okay. And so you got the quarterbacks and the tight ends in the first round. The line of thinking, it's not just mine, it's other people out there that are realizing, you can get a good wide receiver, you can get a good running back, but there's only so many elite quarterbacks and tight ends, and you only get one if you're playing in a standard league. No matter what kind it is, dynasty or redraw or keeper, there's only one starting quarterback.
Now, I guess we should
one starting tight end. They could have a flex, but why would you have a flex tight end in there if the starting tight end is Kelsey? There is no other tight end that you put in there. It's a wide receiver, or a running back for the kind of
well,
that you're
see, I beg to differ. Because 90% of the time you're going to be right. But what if you got a tight end, a good backup tight end, and they're playing against a team that sucks at covering tight ends? You might want to put one in flex the 1 week. Now that's
matchups. Certain matchups I can understand.
Yeah, like I said, that window's going to be small for opportunity for that, but it's a possibility. I guess we should have joined Mickey Sharon's league. He said he got Burrow in the 5th round and a running back in the 1st, and he'll take that stud.
Once again, Burrow injured. Okay. He took him in the 5th. That's fine. Okay. That's fine in the 5th, but for me, I'm not waiting to the 5th round to take a quarterback. Okay. Who's going to be my starter? If I could get the best available quarterback, in the 1st round, and it worked out for me several times. I did get Patrick Mahomes in a few leagues, but I'll tell you who my second favorite quarterback was this year. Trevor Lawrence. He's added Calvin Ridley. They got Tank Bigsby in the draft to go with Travis Etienne. He really came on at the end of last year. Look what they did to the Chargers in the playoffs. Second year under the Doug Peterson system. And so, that was a really good one there for Trevor Lawrence. I just think I'm set up for success in all of my leagues. And if we had time and this thing would let me, I would show you all the different teams that I have, and you'd be like, man, you're loaded.
Hey, I wanted to do more leagues, but I didn't have an opportunity to join another one. I would have had to create another one, and I just didn't want to do another free league. And I figured it's probably too soon to get people together and saying, "Hey, you want to throw $10 and join this league?" But the season starts in 2 days.
I've had success helping other people with their money leagues. I never have any success when I'm the actual person. I can advise the heck out of people and help them win, and I have done that. Mark Porter's won money, I believe, because I've advised him. Jamie Smith, Tim Johansson, Stanley Palmer, these guys that I know that are friends of mine, they call me. They're like, "What do you like between this dude and this dude?" They're offering me, and I'm like, "Don't do it. What are you, crazy?" And things work out for them. But for me, I for some reason have the toughest time. I do better gambling than I do money leagues and fantasy, And the reason I have so many leagues is because everybody wants me to play with them, and I can't play with everybody. But, I try to be involved, and, I got your league and Keenan's league, and I have a league of my own. Stanley's got a league. And so I got a couple of ESPNs. I got one sleeper app. That's the Dynasty League that I'm in with Josh Dodd, Jason Linton, the New England boys. And then it's a Kansas New England connection basically in that league. And then I got a couple of Yahoos, so
Mickey Sheeran said,
and everyone is a little bit different. when it comes to how they play and the point systems and things. But for the most part, it keeps me really interested in all of the games that are being played because I know, hey, I've got the wide receiver on that team over there, and I got the runner on this team over there. And that's why I feel like I don't hate really any team in the league. There's some people, they hate them. Most Viking fans hate the Packers with a passion. I loved Brett Favre. Okay. And that was before he came to the Vikings. Okay. I admired Aaron Rodgers. I've soured on him over the years because I don't like his attitude,
Well, when it comes to fantasy, all that shit goes out the window.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, for me, I just enjoy playing, because I like being right about picking who starts and, who I drafted. And, it's great to, you got a lot of conversation with other sports fans when you have fantasy football leagues.
So Mickey Sharon says the difference between the top end QBs and the middle of the pack guys isn't as big as the top end running backs have over the run of the teal running backs. Take a guy like CMC, Chubb, etc. They have the chance to get 20 plus every week PPR. Agreed. That's why if I'm playing a PPR league, I don't tendently go out for Derrick Henry or somebody who's going to run the ball not 90% of the time. I like guys CMC, Chubb. I like backs that do it all. That's why, honestly, in our league, I do have it set up as a PPR. You get points for catch, run, all that. When I went to draft running backs, it's actually funny because I wasn't necessarily going to go for Montgomery. I was actually looking at the Lions rookie Gibbs because I figured, okay, Montgomery's going to have the boatload run. They will pass the ball to him. I'm not saying they're not going to. But I feel like Gibbs is going to get a lot more passing plays when he comes in the backfield. He's going to run the ball too, but I feel like he is younger, faster, possibly. And for the fact that he was so good at Alabama doing it, I figured that's going to be more his role. So I was trying to get him, but my dad snagged him before I could get to him. And then somebody left David Montgomery on the board by the time I got up. So I was like, who could really? Took him.
We got a comment from Randy Milmine, and I just want to say that I've never claimed that I'm an expert at any of this stuff. So I don't know if that was, directed at me or you or whatever. There's a lot of players that I took, in my leagues that are rookies that we don't really know what we're going to get. I was able to get Jordan Addison. We talked about him as, I thought, the best wide receiver of the receivers that were coming out because he was going to be a starter. Okay. He's going to actually start, whereas Zay Flowers is the third wide receiver. Quentin Johnston's the third wide receiver. Jackson Smith and Jig was the third wide receiver. Addison was actually going to be a starter because he's taken over for Adam Thielen. And so, that's one of the things, little nitpick things there where you might have a little, information that others don't have because they don't realize who they're selecting. Now, while Flowers may turn into something unbelievable, and if you got him in a dynasty league and he ends up becoming a starter here in a year or so, because OBJ does not have that many more years to go, then you probably made yourself a really smart pick. But for this year, you got George Pickens, I'm very high on. He's going to have to take that number one wide receiver spot this year because Deontay Johnson really held it down last year. And so, that's a guy that I was looking at. A lot of talk about behind the scenes when Darren Waller was in, with the Raiders. Carr, he was like his favorite target. Okay, well, he's been injured last year. They shipped him off. Carr goes to New Orleans. Now it's Juwan Johnson, the tight end from New Orleans. Okay, they expect him, even though it's a different offense, technically. Okay, even though it's a different offense, technically, Juwan Johnson's going to be one of those guys that you were able to get late. I've got him as a backup and expect him to be a starter at some point during the year in my fantasy league. Did you grab any under the radar guys, Chris, and your teams?
I'll look it up. Let me look at my team. I'm pretty sure I know who everybody I picked. But because I was gone all Labor Day weekend in the middle of the woods, I haven't really sat down and went over my team. Actually, yeah, I think I got Jay Ross from KC.
Randy, it's Deuce Vaughn is my sleeper of the draft. We know about him because he went to Kansas State University, and so here in Kansas, we know how tough he is. I swear to you, he is a Darren Sproles clone. He's gone to Dallas. Pollard is still recovering from that ACL. They've got Malik Davis, but they let him go. They cut him. And so on the depth chart, Vaughn is actually 2 ahead of Rico Dowdle, I think it is the third runner there. And so if Pollard can't handle the load early, man, look for Deuce Vaughn with Dallas. Go ahead, Chris. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, you're good. I would say I had a few sleepers that a lot of people slept on in our league. I'm pretty sure you didn't, but I beat you to the chance to get these guys.
Right.
I got Jay Ross from KC, the first time receiver make an appearance because he was hurt last year, if I'm not mistaken. And I got Tony from Kansas City Chiefs, somebody just left on the board.
That's because he's injured. I took him off because he can't stay healthy.
He was injured, but I just read a post saying that they expect him to play on Thursday
There's
night.
no way he's going to be at full strength the first couple of weeks because he hasn't been practicing and training with the team for like the last 6 weeks of training camp.
Oh, for sure. I'm not starting him.
I just think that I think that of the guys they've got on the Chiefs, you got to look for Sky Moore. He spent all offseason with Patrick Mahomes. He was at all of the camps in Texas, all of the camps in Kansas City. He is. I'm not sure he's got the speed that Tyreek Hill has, obviously, but he's in that same mold. He's got speed. He's undersized. He's shifty, and it'll be his second year. The first year, Tyreek Hill didn't, do great in Andy Reid's offense. It was the second year that Hill did. And now this is going to be the second year for Sky Moore.
Yep.
We're going to see Justin Ross, the wide receiver from Clemson, who had an injury, sat out all year last year. Technically, he's in his second year in this offense.
Yep. There's a
lot of receivers and running backs that didn't get to play last year because they were injured or they were sitting behind whoever the star was. Those are the players that you want to kind of look and be like, hey, look at this guy over here. He was really special in college, but he didn't get to show anything this year. Let's take this guy and see what happens.
No, see, I had a chance to Sky Moore, but I think somebody took him, and that's why I took Tony, if I'm not mistaken.
I got Sky Moore.
You did. But in reality, this is why I took those. These are why Ajax, San Francisco's wide receiver that came on hot last year. I got him. Ross.
You mean Brandon Ayuk?
Yep.
Brandon Ayuk. It ain't Jack. It's Ayuk.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Ross.
I got him in a couple of leagues.
And now this is why I call them my sleepers in this particular draft, because for some reason people left them on the board, because I got Patrick Mahomes, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf,
Right.
and Travis Unique Jr. from Jacksonville, running back. I got Dave. Yep, I got Montgomery as running back. The only weak position I would say on my team, and only why I say this now is because I haven't seen how our key tight end is done this year. But I grabbed Laporta tight end, the rookie from the Lions this year, just because by the time I got the tight end, all the real good guys are gone. So I took my chances at tight end at the rookie, just because I know he's had a strong camp. Him and Goff have been good at connection, and from the reports, building chemistry. So I like that. And then I took Ipacho, your running back, for my flex position. And then, like I said, I got San Francisco Ross. I got Nick Juku, Cleveland tight end.
Yeah.
And I got D Swift as my backup running back, Tony. And then Jimmy G is my backup QB. Matt Gray is my kicker. And then we did talk about this on this broadcast, by the way. I took Seattle's defense because strong reports is saying that secondary, this could be the new beginning of another Legend of Doom.
Yeah.
So I'm confident in my team.
Randy wants to know why Bijan was not being drafted higher. I mean, it's because he's not going to be the featured back. There's going to be a rotation there in Atlanta. You know, Tyler Allgeier's had 1,000 yards from scrimmage last year, and they still got Cordarrelle Patterson. I mean, he does add another weapon. He's a very good receiver out of the backfield, and they need all the weapons they could get. I don't think that Kyle Pitts was used properly last season, along with some injuries that he had. You know, they've got, it's Drake London, at wide receiver there. But not much else at receiver, for the Atlanta Falcons. And so they are going to do what Tennessee has been doing for years, which is gash you with the run, but it's going to be a three-headed monster. And so none of them are going to be, like you said, like a CMC or a Chubb, who I got Chubb in a couple of mine after I picked up Mahomes. He was still available because everybody else is enamored with, quarterbacks, or they were enamored with the very top of the top wide receivers because they've been scoring more points over the last several years than some of these runners have. And so I think that's why Bijan, I understand he's an all-around player, but you also got to remember he's a rookie, so they're not sure what they're getting from him. And he's also coming into, like I said, a situation where Algiers was really great for him last year. And Bijan didn't play a lot in the preseason. They kind of had him sit in the background. I think he played one game, got 3 carries, had one great run. The other ones were just kind of, he got swallowed up. They're not going to know what you got for sure. And people probably felt more comfortable taking somebody that they knew than somebody they don't know. For a team that's not expected to do great, I've seen a lot of people say, hey, Atlanta's going to win the South. I think that's crazy. I like the Saints in the South. We've talked about that. Carr's going to have so many weapons around him to go with a defense that is ranked high. He's never had a high-ranking defense before. They've been in 28th or worse in Oakland/Vegas the whole time he was there. And now he's got Demario Davis and Cameron Jordan and the Honey Badger. They got a stout defense back there, and they're playing in a weak-ass division. There's a couple of people predicted they've got such a weak schedule because they're playing the AFC South also, okay, that they could end up with the number 1 seed in the NFC. Now, I think that that's a little highfalutin, but that's why they play the game. So we just have to see what happens.
Now, he also just asked the question. He said, so everyone's saying KC's going to start out slow. So does that mean if Detroit comes out with that game, it's not as shocking as people pumped up the Lions winning that game?
No. If Detroit wins that game, it'll be like they won the Super Bowl. I mean, everybody in the they're going all the way. It won't matter who didn't play or who did. Okay.
See,
does not matter at all. Okay.
See, I disagree.
It's a showcase primetime game, and we talked about it. People are fanatics. Okay. They use the smallest little things to justify why, things are going to happen. And, it'll be crazy. Chris will brag his ass off next Tuesday, about how they beat the Chiefs if they do.
See,
and he's entitled to, and that's totally fine.
You're 100% right. But there's some more meaning to that. Of course, I'm going to brag my ass off when I run a group with 3,000 people and have to listen for 6 weeks straight how my team don't have a chance.
Well,
I got told the other day. I got told the other day that Chris Jones could not play. You guys don't need a good defense. All you need is a mediocre defense, and you're going to still win as much games as you did prior because your offense is that fucking good. Which they're not totally wrong. They're not totally wrong because you will win some games, but you ain't going to win the big game with that strategy. Because when you get to the big games, you got to have a good defense.
The Lions, and we talked about this. The Lions did not have a good defense last year. They added pieces, but how long is it going to take for them to gel? Remember, they're going to be tired in the fourth quarter because they haven't played a full game. They haven't played together a full 60 minutes. You got a lot of new faces on the team. Some of them probably still learning the system, learning where to be. They're young kids that don't have a lot of experience, and the ones that do have a lot of experience are older, going to be super tired in that fourth quarter because their conditioning is not ready for a full game yet.
See, this is my outtake. I disagree to a little bit. I don't agree with if the Lions beat the Chiefs that brings Super Bowl and all this shit. I think a lot of bandwagon fans who left this franchise because see, Detroit's pretty much stayed to a loyal fan base, to my margin. But there's another margin to our fan base that used to be there that clearly quit watching this team from all those years. Now you got some of those fans starting to come back into the picture because we're becoming good. So those fans, if we beat KC and the national media and the fan bases around and fans around the league in general, are going to really hype the Lions up if they win week 1.
Oh, they're going to crown them. There's no doubt about that.
At the end of the day, they don't guarantee Super Bowl. But I still think it means something if we do win that week 1 matchup. Now, it shows that the Lions ain't the same old team as everybody thinks. Because this is not the first time the NFL has hyped up the Lions. And it won't be the last time they've done this to the Lions, and then we come out and shit the bed. That has literally happened before. That everybody was all the Lions, and then we come out and we're nothing. Like Matt Patricia's first year, everything around here was so hyped up because we got Matt Patricia, we got coaches that won multiple Super Bowls. He's a genius on defense. We start the season out on Monday Night Football against the Jets and literally get our ass handed to us. I think we won 4 games all that year, maybe 5, maybe 6 at the most that season. But we went getting predicted to make the playoffs with Matt Patricia to the worst 4 freaking years I've seen in a long time before Matt Patricia. Because before Matt Patricia got here, the Lions were making the playoffs pretty frequently. We had least 2 years of making the playoffs under Caldwell and winning records. Now, granted, we weren't championship material, but at least we were building some positivity in our franchise. We fire him and go back steps. So
yeah, I thought it was a mistake to fire Caldwell. I liked him. I liked Jim Schwartz as a coach. I liked both of those guys. And, because they're looking for instant gratification, in Detroit, they've suffered for their long. You guys are long-suffering fans. Okay. They're looking for instant gratification, a quick turnaround. They see these coaches that go to teams like Sean McVay goes to the Rams, okay, and takes a team that was below 500 to the playoffs just like that. And so they hire Patricia, or they hire somebody, and they bring them in, and in their first year, 5-11. Well, how come we didn't make the play? We hired a new coach. We brought in new players. It's the quality of the coaches. It's the quality of the players. Did you have a foundation that was already being built before these people?
Did we lose you? We might have lost David. He froze up in my end. We lose him? Hang on. But yeah.
Is a really good coach.
There you go.
We've seen it on Hard Knocks last year. Obviously.
So we did lose him. All right. So, no, David's 100%. David's 100% right. We did have a foundation.
I have no idea what just happened.
I think he just kicked you out. But
well, I'm back.
He's back. So David was 100% right. We did have a foundation under Caldwell. Do I still think Caldwell was the coach to get us to the promised land? No, I don't. Because there are some things I didn't like having a ping pong table in the locker room. These guys are supposed to be playing football, practicing, doing football stuff. They're playing fucking ping pong in the damn locker room. I didn't like that.
There are different ways to motivate teams. If you look at the New York Jets in Hard Knocks this year, what they do, they brought in a magician guy, a mentalist, which I thought was amazing. Okay. The dude picked the team, the score, everything, and he had it all prepped and ready to go. Okay. In that Hard Knocks episode, you get different coaches bring in other people for motivational speeches. You have mentalists, you have, comedians, you have celebrities, you have ping pong tables, foosball tables, hot tubs. They have different things. People make a big deal out of certain things because they're looking for something to blame.
Well, see,
things don't go right.
I technically, I could go back and I have every reason to blame. And I don't care if they had a ping pong table. That wasn't really what I brought. Why I brought it up is in those teams with Caldwell, 2 years straight, we made the playoffs. We had the NFC. We were the number 1 seed. Both years, we literally lost the last couple of games and got to a point where we had to beat one team in our division. 1 year was Green Bay. Next year was Minnesota. And we would have won our division. We lost both of those games.
Hey, you can't win them all. Buddy.
I understand that. But we had the better team both seasons in the whole division.
Obviously not, or you'd have won the game. And this is where being a fan of a team, okay, you start looking for reasons for why your team didn't live up to your expectations. Okay.
But am I wrong to be pissed that they should have had 2 division titles and they were playing ping pong in the fucking locker room and just let it slip through their fingers? I mean, I get what you're saying, and I agree with you.
Gaining team camaraderie by playing other games the Kansas City Chiefs players play, what is it? The video game where you go out and you shoot a bunch of people.
Call of Duty.
Okay? What is that called?
Call of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Duty. Okay. They play Call of Duty to gain camaraderie. You put a ping pong table in there to gain some camaraderie because you got people that like to play ping pong. It brings your team closer together. But instead of using that as a motivation to keep your team together, fans and other people will use it as an excuse. If the Chiefs started losing left and right, well, we had a hell of a game of Call of Duty last night. Oh, Jesus. Call of Duty's the reason why you lost the game. People will look for anything to blame why their team didn't win, okay, when they think they should have.
But you know why people don't bitch about the Chiefs playing Call of Duty?
Because they win.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
That's exactly what I just said. If they were to lose after, we had a big game of Call of Duty last night. Oh, well, you can't play Call of Duty no more because we lost the game. That's the same thing you're doing with the ping pong table.
I might be overreacting and acting to it, but my whole point was, I don't think Caldwell was the coach to get over that hump. But I still don't agree with what happened. Even though at the time I was on board with hiring Matt Patricia, I totally regret that, and I would have took Caldwell for another fucking 4 years if I knew that motherfucker was just going to ruin our whole team.
Listen, I know about Caldwell. Caldwell was the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens when Joe Flacco and them won the Super Bowl. He was the quarterback's coach and partial offensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts when Peyton Manning was there. He became the head coach when Tony Dungy retired, and they just kept on rolling until Peyton got hurt. You can't blame the fact that, the whole team fall apart when the field general, the sheriff, goes down and, he can't play all year long. He was the centerpiece of that team.
No, see.
It would be the same thing as if Patrick Mahomes were to go down or Aaron Rodgers were to go down. Season's over.
I mean, look back at it now as I got more knowledge on this game and how things work. I can't really blame for that. But Caldwell's weakness as a head coach is game management and changing strategy. Because it's shown over the fact, because also in those 2 years, all those games, we held a halftime lead. That game we had to win the division, we were winning at halftime, lost every game. We had the lead, lost it. When he made a Super Bowl as a head coach against the Colts and the Saints, what did he have? A big-ass lead at halftime. Lost it in the second half.
All right. Well, listen, we need to move on. We're running out of time to talk about things here. I wanted to spend some time to talk about, sports gambling. They got sports gambling this last year in Kansas. They've had it in several states. It's spreading throughout the country, slowly but surely, to where everybody will eventually be able to gamble using their phone. And for all intents and purposes here, we're going to use DraftKings as our basis here of, the lines and the odds and such. I wanted to be able to show you how to use the app on the computer, but unfortunately it won't allow us to do the Zoom and that at the same time. So please forgive me if I'm looking at my phone some of the times when I'm talking about this stuff. But let's start out with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. The line moved today because of the injury to Travis Kelce. It was 5.5 points. It's now down to 5. Chiefs are still favored. And, for me, at 5 points, I respect the Detroit Lions. Kansas City has the hardest time covering spreads. I would take the money line in this particular game. Now, I love parlays, okay? You could do a single game parlay with this particular game, and I always just go for who is going to win the game and then who's going to score some touchdowns. Okay. Because you can always count on a couple players are going to score a touchdown. We're an offensive league now in the NFL. And so had Travis Kelce not been injured, I would have bet that it was going to be Kelce. I like Isaiah Pacheco to run one in for the Chiefs. And then I like David Montgomery to get a touchdown, on the ground for the Lions. Those are the three I feel relatively comfortable saying those guys are going to score in the game. Okay. Now, Amon-Ra St. Brown is listed as questionable right now. So, he may not be at full strength, or I would have been interested in possibly him scoring a touchdown. But we're not trying to set the world on fire here. I'm a $5 bet at a time kind of guy, Chris. I don't know how you do it, but I would put $5 down on a parlay. Now that Kelsey's out, okay, I still think you got the Chiefs winning the game. Pacheco, Sky Moore is the guy that will replace the Kelce touchdown, and I still like to have David Montgomery for the Lions. That'll pay you out about $35. That's a nice little chunk of change for a $5 bet. I made one similar earlier today. I was using up my free bets, because they expire on the 7th. And from when if you get in there now, if you download, if you're a new customer, there's some promos that they have going right now with DraftKings. If you're a new customer, you deposit your money. If you bet $5, they will give you $200 in free bets. Be thrifty with those. Make $5 bet here, $5 bet there. This guy's going to score a touchdown. You don't get to keep the $200 except the money that you win with that $200. Okay, so it's free bets, but not necessarily free money. The money you win is your free money if you make the right choices. They have some opt-ins right now. If you opt in, there's a no sweat bet up to $10. If you bet on any team this weekend and you're, relatively sure that they're going to win, you have to bet the money line. Okay, not the spread, but the money line. You put on $10 on any team. Okay. And if they win, then you get the money. And if they lose, they will give you a free $10 bet. So you get to use that $10 twice. They've got other opt-ins. The odds have gone up from -200 to +100 for a Justin Fields or Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown this weekend. So, that's something you have to opt in to get that. You click on the opt-in, the bet will come up, and then you can decide to do that. I think that's a really safe bet that one of those guys scores a rushing touchdown. Chris, what do you think?
I think so too.
Yeah.
And I'll answer your first question. I'm not a big sports gambler, but I do like to bet here and there if the odds are right. I am going to start doing the $5 parlays. I did one for the Super Bowl and won almost $300 off of $5.
Yeah,
but obviously the Super Bowl is different odds and different payouts. The Super Bowl and everybody's betting it.
I spend about $40 a weekend. Okay. I can afford $40, especially with the kind of returns that I was getting over the last year. Now, I had some down weeks, but like I said before, I won $3,200 last year. And a lot of that came on some of those free bets. I was a new customer, and it works like that with all of these, sites. And if you refer a friend, they're trying to get everybody involved. You get free bets as well. I have the apps, but I'm not playing on all of them this opening week. There's DraftKings. I like DraftKings the most for the kind of action and the parlays that you can do. FanDuel is also fun. And then BetMGM. Those are the top three, in my opinion, for the kind. They give you lots of bonuses. They give you lots of no sweat bets where you can get your money back if you lose. It's like betting money for free, kind of. You
Yeah.
get to play twice if you don't win the first time. You
See,
get to play again.
I like
So
betting.
you get bonuses from those. Caesars, I never really got a lot of bonuses from them unless I got friend referrals or you're a new customer. They don't keep you in the game like some of these other places
Yeah.
do.
See,
I also had Barstool Sportsbook is the other one that I've used, but I haven't played that one much at all, and I don't intend to probably this year unless some really good promotion comes up. And they will have promotions almost every weekend to try to duke you in to playing some of these things. Disclaimer: don't spend more than you can afford to lose.
Exactly.
Okay? Like I said, just a few dollars here and there. Limit yourself to, just $5 a bet. Nothing is a sure thing. Okay? Nothing is a sure thing. Be very smart with your money. If you don't want to gamble, just don't gamble. You don't have to. Maybe you're somewhere where you can't gamble. And I'm
here's
sorry
the thing for me.
I am thrilled to death, and I had such a good year last year. I've already gotten some match bonuses for putting money in. They give me some more money, or whatever to bet with, and so I've used some of those. I'm looking for a really great first weekend. Let's talk about the next game, which I believe this is the game of the weekend, Chris.
Okay.
In my opinion.
I just want to say real quick.
Go ahead. What do you got?
And I don't know, I know some of you guys probably don't live where casinos by you, but just so you know, if you do have MGM close by to you, if you win on it and you don't want to wait the 24 hours, or sometimes it takes 2 days to actually hit your account, you can actually set it up, withdraw it, and for me, I can go drive 15 minutes on the road the same night right after end it, and I can go get cold hard cash in my hand from the casino, because I do have the luxury that MGM is in Detroit. So some of you guys that live in Vegas or live by Atlantic City maybe, or other cities with the MGM casino,
Atlantic
looking
City
at betting apps, check those out, because if you're not a person that likes to leave your money in cahoots and online like that, waiting, because I hate that part, because I always feel like somebody could hack my shit and steal my money somehow. You know what I mean? That is other options. So I just wanted to say that, because I didn't know how much people really knew that you could actually do that.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, most of these, in order to be able to bet, you have to have a location where it's legal if you're on your phone or your laptop. And the first time that I tried to load money on, you have to do it through a bank account. It's got to be done through a bank account, or depending on who you go through. I found out that I could load money by going to Dollar General. Okay. You could go to Dollar General, or you could go to, I think it was Walgreens and one other place. And then for FanDuel, you could go to CVS, or you could go to Family Dollar. They have places that you can go, and it's like buying a gift card. They have a code that's on your phone. They scan the barcode and ring it up at the register, and it loads through that way. But in order to retrieve your money, they'll have to send it to you through the mail if you don't have PayPal or, a bank account linked to your account or whatever, through whoever it is. I have all of mine linked to my account. So, I'm not worried about that. Let's go here real quick. I was telling you, this is the game of the weekend, in my opinion. And that is the San Francisco 49ers are going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the line started out up here and has dropped down to the point where it's only 2 points at this point. This thing's loaded. It's 2.5. Okay. The 49ers are favored by 2.5 in Pittsburgh. I'm taking the Steelers. Okay. I'm taking the Steelers because the 49ers are coming all the way from the West Coast. You've got a quarterback that's coming off of a recovery who's only played a quarter of football, this spring or this, before the season. No Nick Bosa, and that Steeler defense is healthy and tenacious, and they have depth. Pickett looked really good at the end of the year last year. They've got pretty much a two-headed running attack now between Harris and Warren. Pickens is a breakout star. Deontay Johnson, Freiermuth at tight end. We know all the weapons that the 49ers have, okay? But they had to replace their right tackle. Mike McGlinchey went to the Broncos, and so that could be it could be problematic with TJ Watt on the other side right there, looking to come and make some plays. I think that this is going to be a really fun game to watch. I like the Steelers in the game. I would take the points, okay, or whatever. I would take the where they've got to win, or they get at least a couple points there. And then for a parlay in this particular game, Pickens, the wide receiver for the Steelers, Najee Harris, running back for the Steelers, and then Kittle is probably not going to play. He's injured. I would either go with Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk to catch a touchdown pass from Brock Purdy in this particular game.
Or
what do you think of this game, Chris? Go ahead.
I agree with all that. Or you could take CMC, because I'm sure CMC will touch the ball and have a chance to get one. And then
if he does score, I don't see it's going to be on the ground. I think it'll be a receiving touchdown if he does in that game.
That is true too. And I didn't think about that in the parlay.
The touchdown doesn't matter how he scores. It's any kind of touchdown is always the kind of
it just only counts if you pick the quarterback.
Yeah. Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are 6-point favorites as of right now. It's it's a minus 110 if you take the 6 points. I'd take the money line. I think this could be a closer game. I don't have a lot of faith in the running game this year. I know that Mickey or Randy and some other people were talking about Madison. I just don't see it. I think they're going to have to score through the air. And so, I think it'll be a tight game. And so I would take the money line on that. As far as players to score in the game, definitely Justin Jefferson, definitely Mike Evans for Tampa Bay. Anything different on your side, Chris?
No, I definitely I agree with that.
We got the New Orleans Saints hosting the Tennessee Titans. The Saints are 3-point favorites, and the money line is virtually identical to what the points would be. I would take the money line in this. With Alvin Kamara out, Jamal Williams probably a good bet to score. Maybe Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, if he's really healthy, maybe all three of them score. You can look for Derrick Henry to score for the Titans, but that's how I would run on a parlay. But just taking it straight up, just a quick little $5 bet. I would take the money line for the Saints. Baltimore Ravens, Tennessee, and Houston Texans. This one here, 10 points. Baltimore is given to Houston, and I would believe it. And, going back to fantasy football, if you have more than one defense and you have Baltimore, in your fantasy football league, definitely start them week 1 against Houston.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't see that they have enough weapons. You're dealing with a rookie quarterback. Baltimore's defense is going to feast on Houston. I expect that they could probably cover the spread in this. That pays a lot better than the money line. The money line's negative 470. It's negative 110, for the points. And I would look for, players to score in that game. OBJ, for Baltimore. For Houston, Dameon Pierce, the running back, if they manage to get in the end zone, for him. So not a big parlay in that game. I probably wouldn't play a parlay in that one, but, that's the way that one's looking. The next game on the list, Jacksonville Jaguars at Indianapolis Colts. Jaguars are favored by 5 right now.
I'm taking money line. I'm taking Jags and money line in that.
On the money line with that one?
Mm-hmm. I think
I would too, because you don't know what you're going to get. Looking at Anthony Richardson, there were times where you could see what it is that they think they have in the preseason, and if he puts it together, he's going to be dangerous. He's going to be in the mold of a Jalen Hurts or a Lamar Jackson. I'll tell you who he reminds me of. He reminds me of Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to improve his accuracy a little bit more, but that could be an interesting first week game. I would take Jacksonville. As far as players scoring in that game, Etienne, probably going to score, could be a receiving touchdown or, a rushing one, because he's a pretty good receiver out of the backfield. Calvin Ridley, going to have his coming out party for Jacksonville. And then for Indianapolis, rushing touchdown all the way for Anthony Richardson in that game.
Oh, for sure.
Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns. And right now, Cincinnati's favored by 2.5. The Browns are 4-1 in the last 5 games against Cincinnati. Joe Burrow is coming into this game, if he even plays, with that calf injury. He hasn't played in several weeks. Based on what you got here, the money line is plus 114 for Cleveland. I would consider taking the Cleveland Browns in this particular game. Nick Chubb for a touchdown. If they have the option of him scoring more than 1, I think that'd be a safe bet. And this is one of those games that I wouldn't bet on until I know whether or not Burrow's going to play or not.
For sure. I was just going to say that.
Yeah, and so for that particular game, and even if he does play, if he plays, that just means that some of his playmakers may score. If you're looking for a parlay, I just don't think that they're going to win that game. I think Cleveland wins the game. Cincinnati got off to an 0-2 start last year when Joe Burrow did not play in the preseason. He hasn't played this year in the preseason. Last year it was an appendectomy. This year it's a calf. I think the smart money is to take the Cleveland Browns in week 1, Chris.
If you're betting the money line, for sure. Now, me personally, I would stay away because I just don't trust. I don't know. I gotta see that offense and Deshaun Watson before I take a money line. But I want to be so turned off to maybe do a parlay, depending on one of the options were.
Right. Yeah, so some of these games, like you said, there's some games that I would stay away from. One of those games is the Dolphins at the Chargers. I think that's going to be a really good game, but I'm not sure who's going to win that game. Both teams have, I think, high-powered offenses, but you don't know what you're going to get out of their defenses, really. And so, unless it's part of a multiple game, who's going to win, type of situation where you put 5 in and you're picking like 6 teams and you hope that they win. I don't think that I would, put any money on that game by itself. The Panthers at the Falcons, that's another one. You don't know what you're going to get out of Carolina. We assume Atlanta's defense is better. We've talked about the 3-headed running attack that they're probably going to have there in Atlanta. Panthers added a lot of name players, but they're all older players. Adam Thielen, Miles Sanders, DJ Chark, who's probably not going to play with an ankle injury. So that one there, the Falcons are favored by 3.5. If you were going to bet on that one, boy, I'd sure take the money line on that one. Because that comes down to a 1-point game. Arizona Cardinals at Washington Commanders, 7 points for the Commanders. We're going to see Sam Howell versus, I believe it's going to be Clayton Tune, the quarterback for Arizona, the rookie. And so, that's a strike against him right there. He's a rookie, playing, opening day against Washington. They think they've got something special in Sam Howell. I know they can run the football with Gibson and Robinson. This would be another one that I would probably take the money line and then try to parlay it into, a Brian Robinson touchdown, perhaps Terry McLaurin scoring in that game. I wouldn't expect anybody from Arizona to score. Maybe James Conner.
Yeah, I would be riding. If you're betting on that game, you better be taking the Commanders.
Yeah.
Because you're going to lose.
Well, you got Arizona. The defending NFC champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, are going into New England. And we know that Bill Belichick and his defense can wreck anybody. He comes up with these game plans. But we talked about it earlier. Jalen Hurts probably can have a rushing touchdown. He's got A.J. Brown there. The lead running back is going to be Swift, your old guy from the Lions. But I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be a bit of a passing fest for them. I would take the Eagles. They're favored by 4. I think I would take the points. I think they can win by a touchdown. Maybe parlay that with a couple of scoring players.
Yep. Or if you just want to do a parlay on that game, it wouldn't be a bad parlay. You'll definitely have, I think, some options from the Eagles side to get some TDs on the board.
Yeah. Here's one I'd stay away from. Raiders Broncos. You got Sean Payton coming in, new head coach. They're favored by 4. And they're playing at home against Las Vegas Raiders, who they've got Jimmy Garoppolo going to start his first game for the Raiders. Josh Jacobs did not play at all in the preseason because he was holding out. And so I think that's the reason why Broncos are favored. We know about Russell Wilson's struggles last year. You got Javonte Williams coming back at running back from an injury. Like I said, for me, I would stay away from this particular game. But if you like the game, I would take probably Denver on the money line because I'm pretty sure that if they win, it's going to be by a field goal. And then, just put in, perhaps, Williams, Devontae Adams probably score a touchdown for the Raiders. And, a $5 bet could pick you up, maybe $20 or so.
Yeah, it would be.
Well, here's the one that you don't want to pick anybody. Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears, and this thing is almost a pick 'em now. Bears by 1. And
I think this is hard to pick.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that it could be hard to pick.
But I'm probably going to have to go with the Bears.
Do what?
Probably going to have to go with the Bears on this one. Just because I think Justin Fields could maybe run another touchdown to seal this game. at the end of it, late minutes.
Well, I'm concerned about their running game. They lost David Montgomery. Now they got Khalil Herbert. There's Travis Ebner. They drafted Rashawn Johnson from Texas, who was the backup to Bijan Robinson. Which one of these guys is going to step up and provide the yards on the ground? Or is it going to be Justin Fields running for his life? We don't know whether or not their offensive line has solidified. I know they got some new players. Green Bay looked pretty good with Jordan Love under center in the preseason. I'm not saying he's going to be Aaron Rodgers or anything, but I think he can be serviceable if they run the ball with Aaron Jones. This is the game that could end up in overtime. I think I would stay away from that particular game.
I think thinking about one point, I probably would stay away from the money line, but I wouldn't be so scared to maybe do a parlay. Maybe Justin Fields rushing TD.
Aaron Jones.
Yeah. And I believe Herbert's shown he can be a decent back in this league. He can run the ball, but we've never seen him get all the offensive snaps. So we got to see what the rookies and the guys behind him are going to do. And Hubert could possibly even get a TD in this game, and possibly Cole Kmet with the passing, the receiving touchdown, because Justin Fields has shown that Kmet is one of his favorite targets.
Here's a game that I think that I would take the money line. Seahawks by 5.5 over the Rams. I would, in that particular game, I would take the money line, and then I would parlay it. Kenneth Walker III with a rushing touchdown. You got no Cooper Kupp for the Rams. Cam Akers is the running back for the Rams. Maybe Akers can put it in the end zone. But, we talked about when we were talking fantasy that, Seattle's defense is supposed to be a lot stouter than people think it is. You expect the Rams to bounce back after injuries really hurt them last year. Matt Stafford was out. Now you got Cooper Kupp's probably not going to play in this game. So you got Van Jefferson, as the lead wide receiver. I don't know. I know that I like Seattle in the game. Dallas Cowboys at New York Giants. They got the Cowboys favored by 3 on the road at, MetLife Stadium in New York or New Jersey. I could see them winning the game by 3 or more. So, I would take the points in that particular situation. And then, this is one of those, you wait to see whether or not certain people are going to play or not. Is Tony Pollard going to play? If Pollard plays, Pollard scores a touchdown. I like CeeDee Lamb to score a touchdown. For the Giants, Saquon Barkley will get in the end zone. And so, you combine those with a Dallas Cowboy victory, you could probably pick yourself up, $30, $35 on a $5 bet. Or you could just take the points and bet 5. And, you just pick up a few dollars, but hey, every little bit helps. You're not trying to set the world on fire. And then we get to the final game, Monday Night Football. The Buffalo Bills travel to the New York Jets, to play Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. And it is a 2.5 point Bills, are favored. And my gut feeling is the Jets win this game. Okay. They win early, but they're not going to finish the season strong. I think that Buffalo's going to struggle out of the gate a little bit here. The direct opposite of what happened to them last year when they come out and destroyed the Rams. This year, they're going to play a tough game, probably lose at the end to the Jets, but later on in the season, they're going to come alive. And we've talked about this, that, I've got Buffalo, getting pretty darn far in the playoffs this year with a chance for them to make it to the Super Bowl. And so there you go. There's our
I wouldn't be scared to take the money line and take the Bills. And
Right.
only why I'm gonna bring this up, because I don't disagree with David here 100%. Because I think the Jets could stun them. Because I personally think Buffalo might take steps back this year, but I don't disagree that they might actually make a better run than previous years. I'm 50-50 in them. I got to see them in action and see where they end up. But what I've been meaning is, if you watch Hard Knocks, they pay attention to preseason. The one thing Aaron Rodgers has been bitching about and dealing with the most is QB pressure. That O-line is not solid. So I'm thinking if the defense shows up on Monday night, they might be able to rattle Aaron Rodgers' cage just enough to pull out a victory. But I wouldn't be surprised if Rodgers pulls out the W either. It's just another window that there is an option. It's a 2-point split. So, I mean, I wouldn't bet a lot of money. I wouldn't bet more than $5 on it, but it's a possible play out if they can't stop that pass rush.
Well, brother, good luck to you Thursday night. I want to thank everybody for joining us here this week. Once again, we're going to do these on Tuesday nights, hopefully on time this next week.
Oh, we'll be on time. I'm back to it.
And so, we'll recap the entire week of, week 1 on Tuesday, and we'll look ahead to week number 2 in the National Football League. We'll make some picks. We'll talk some fantasy football. We'll talk a little bit more gambling, but we'll recap week 1 and we'll look ahead to week 2. And that'll be on Tuesday night next week.
Also, if you're not a member of the NFL Renegades, go join it. Just type in NFL Renegades. It's under groups. It'll pop up. Join it. If you like playing pick'ems, we do a fun game every week. Pick'ems and announcements. You just screenshot it, edit it, make your picks, comment it with the tiebreaker. And then after every week, we go add up. Whoever wins it gets to pick the cover photo, whatever you want. I mean, obviously, it has to be appropriate, etc.
It'll be a Kansas City Chief logo. You're welcome.
It ain't going to be that. Also, if you want, you can follow me or add me on Facebook as well. Same with David. And stay tuned. David does pick'ems for every week. So if you're in pick'em leagues and you're looking for somebody who is pretty close up be right on a lot of weeks, this is your guy, David. And I'm glad he's my partner here for 4th&Goal Sports. I wouldn't be what it is without him. So
I appreciate it, bro.
No problem, my dude. So anyways, like I said, if you're not in the Renegades, you want to play pick'ems, go join. If you just want to go there and talk football and talk shit to other fan bases, go join. We're all there every week. And also, if you haven't followed this broadcast page yet, please follow along. We'll see you Tuesday when I'm rubbing in Dave's face over here that the Lions got him.
No.
Or who knows? He could be rubbing it in my face. I told you so.
I'm not going to rub it in. I'm just going to say, I warned you. That's all.
But we'll find out here who's victorious Thursday, and we'll have a great show for you next week. Glad to be back. I'm thankful the season's here. I'm excited. Let's get this going. So you guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for joining us. And David, I'll see you next week, buddy.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Later, guys.